So earlier on today, an event started within Anthem. If you go to free play, you can check out a firestorm going on at the moment, and with it provides some pretty cool in-game stuff. It's currently going on at the moment, I would assume, and it will go on until the demo stops at around 2 AM GMT. So in this video, we're going to go over exactly what it is, what you can experience in there, how we can generally fix some of the server problems that have been going on surrounding the event, and also the reaction coming out of the community, and why BioWare need to be really careful if they try and do stuff like this in the future. Because the words "is that it" has been uttered quite a lot recently. My name is Ryan Central. You can check out more Anthem content on this YouTube channel by subscribing, and we do have a giveaway going on at the moment for a Legion of Dawn edition of the game on any platform, and a runner-up will get a standard copy too, so definitely don't miss that. The event started around 3:30 GMT, so that'll be about like 9:30 in the morning Central Time, and it came with seeing the storm in the air. You can see some of it in the background, and within a couple of hours, players could go to free play, experience this, but most importantly, experience titans roaming around, including the ancient ash titans that you're seeing on screen now. The teasers came in from the Anthem social media saying that something is happening. Anybody in free play seeing this and telling people to look up and go and experience it. Not to mention when you log in, you have the message from the news tab saying a strange storm is in the sky, giants are rumoured to walk the land, headed to free play freelancer, we need your help beyond the walls. So the event was basically this beautiful skybox, it looks amazing, with ash titans, both lesser and big ones, roaming around towards the north part of the map. Unfortunately, this is all it was. Not only that, we had server issues all throughout the evening trying to try this out. At least I did myself. A lot of the time I couldn't spawn into free play. Stuff wasn't spawning in general. A couple of like 20-minute sessions where I didn't see one Ash Titan, either the ancient big ones or the lesser small ones. And also a good amount of the time when I killed an ancient Ash Titan, the server would reset. And then going back into free play, the event wasn't there. It was just a nice sunshiny day. What I can offer if this has been you and you've been having these problems is by saying when you go to spawn into free play, don't spawn outside of Fort Tarsis, use the Strider. That tends to work, but it did require me to go in and out of the game a lot, and when you have this dynamic event going on at the same time and you're unable to experience it, it's kind of frustrating. Then at the end of it, you just realize that it's just killing Ash Titans. Yeah, it left a lot of people disappointed, myself included. I'd really like it if you guys in the comments could tell me what you thought of the event if you experienced it yourself, whether you were happy with it, really gives you some insight to what these can be like in the future, you see the potential and they're excited for what could potentially come next, or were you left a little bit disappointed with the content in there, felt a bit debated with all of the hype surrounding it. Granted, I can hold my hands up and say that we didn't help, us YouTubers saying, oh, it's a Shaper Storm tease, oh, it's this or it's that, so I can only apologise for that. I definitely thought it was going to be more than this, but do let me know what you think in the comments below. With that said, the devs had a lot to say on that very quickly. My gamble was asked if there's going to be more to these storms in the full release, or are they the same as what we have in demo. My gamble says it's just a tease, that's all you can say for now. Ben Irving also adds on a couple of hours later, what you're seeing in the game right now is just a small hint of some of the big things we're planning for Anthem's live service, more to share on that soon. My gamble says enjoy the Ash Titans and the rest of the demo weekend, kind of confirming that there's not much else coming to this Firestorm event. More on what all of this means very soon, and I want to come back to the word soon because there definitely seems to be more information coming out on Endgame, but we'll go over that in a second. This is why I'm able to cut the devs a little bit of slack. At the end of the day, this is a free demo, and whilst the event isn't major in any sense, it does give us an insight to how dynamic these events can be, and also how fun and exciting they can be in general. You know, loading into the game, seeing the Firestorm ahead of us, it's very exciting, and as somebody that had like 700, 800 people watching me on Twitch to find out what this event was, that was really cool. But when it turns out that the event is no more than a skybox and a couple of Ash Titans spawning, whilst I don't really care myself, I understand that it's not going to be like this in the main game. There's nothing for people to perceive it differently. Especially now when you have a lot of people wondering about what Shaper Storms are, and also now Cataclysms being a word that has been used by the Anthem devs to describe something very similar. So it leaves a question, did we experience a Shaper Storm today? Did we experience a Cataclysm? Or something different? And what I believe they're separate entities, and I do want to go back to the interview that we covered in yesterday's video. Before that though, I want to look at the Cortex and what that says about Cataclysms. Cataclysms are a violent, unpredictable disturbance created when the Anthem of creation overwhelms a Shaper instrument. They often appear as an intense storm. While one cataclysm may create bizarre new wildlife, another may shake the ground or force rivers to flow backwards. The only thing certain about a cataclysm is that it cannot be predicted. So it does raise a question, is this what we experienced in game today? And at this point I'm led to believe, and I hope, that it's something else. And like I said, we go back to that article about cataclysms that we covered yesterday to see the major differences. Cataclysms will function similarly to season content found in games like Fortnite. They will be time limited, which is the same as this event. Thematic content that gives Bioware the chance to change how the world looks, feels, and reacts to players. That, again, kind of similar. Cataclysm events will only last for a limited period of time. That's also true. And the core experience tied to them will also fit somewhere on the spectrum between a Destiny strike and a raid, which is definitely not the case. There was not enough content in here to compare it to a Destiny strike or a raid. And it goes back to another part of that interview that Mac Dara says, Cataclysms, anyone could go into them. So it certainly feels to me like the Cataclysms are like an instanced thing that players can go into, as opposed to free play where these dynamic events happen. So that's the main misconception I definitely wanted to get out the way, that what we experienced today, I guess, wasn't a Shaperstorm and it wasn't a Cataclysm, it was just a dynamic public event. A firestorm is the way that PC Gamer described it, but we don't generally know what it is, and that's kind of the problem. Because we don't know anything about what specifically Shaperstorms are, what Cataclysms may look like, and what this event was today, there's nothing to stop people, especially if they don't like the game anyway, to take a clip from the E3 reveal trailer with the Shaperstorm and go expectations versus reality. So that's really worrying, and that's why I think Bioware need to be very careful. It's all about subverting expectations. And whilst Bioware ran with the hype, and granted I will hold my hands up and say I didn't help by saying that this is a Shaperstorm or Cataclysm event, the confusion surrounding what these in inverted commas events are might cause a lot of problems for the game in the future, because players aren't looking deep enough. They see this storm in the sky and go, oh, that's a Shaperstorm, then realise that there isn't as much content in there. And if you look on Twitter with the responses coming out of the devs, you can see that it's just a taste. It is a small look at the kind of dynamic events that they can have. And whilst there's definitely potential there, I need to see that content to believe it, you know what I mean? So that's kind of my concern coming out of this event. Not only did it debate a lot of people, I feel, myself included, but it confuses the audience now that we have Shaperstorms, Cataclysms, and then a Firestorm, you know what I mean. Going back to what I was saying before, there was a lot of soons coming out of Mike Gamble, Ben Irving, and also Mac Dara, and it made me realise that it's been 2 weeks since we saw the first episode of the This Is Anthem series. This was a video going on the official Anthem YouTube channel talking about the story, the progression and customization in the game. And maybe, just maybe sometime this week even, we may see part 2 being about endgame content, strongholds, legendary contracts, Shaperstorms events and such. This event was meant to be a surprise today, and whilst you can tell that Bioware really want to leave some things in-game for us to experience before they tell us about them, as I said, they have to be really careful that they don't hype people up too much, that it leaves them disappointed. But I would expect to see part 2, considering that the first episode says part 1, I would expect to see part 2 before launch at least, so maybe this week or next week. But today we got a taste of how these events can be in-game, and finally we got a bit more information from Mike Gamble on how the reputations are going to work in-game and what players can achieve through them. Have we talked about reputation challenges? No, okay. Arcanists, Freelancers, and Sentinels represent the three factions in Anthem, at least currently. Doing missions, making conversation choices, and doing free play events all give you specific points for each of the factions. Getting those points applies to challenges, which unlock crafting blueprints and other goodies. They also changed the look of your personal Fort Tarsis. There are 3 challenges for each of the factions in the launch game. Redundant asked a really good question: if you increase reputation with one of the factions, will it decrease with another, or are they completely separate? Mike Gamble says in conversations you'll have to make choices for one faction or another, but you can make up for it by running free play or missions. So you can't have one faction loving you and the other one hating you. You can increase them all. It's not like the Buccaneers in World of Warcraft, for example, and the Booty Bay reputation. I wanted to keep this video a little bit shorter than the ones that we've had in the past. Really wanted to go over the reaction coming out of this event, what it looks like, what you can achieve in it, and just a general fallout from the audience there. You can tell that my voice is going a little bit, so I'll leave it here. Thanks for watching, take care, we'll see you next time.